These are the great wing shooting destinations of the world, steeped in tradition, offering the pinnacle of shotgun sport. Tour the planet with us.
A well-traveled wing shooter is usually confident of his or her game plan based on the shoot's geographic location. For example, in Scotland, the focus is most likely the pomp and circumstance of high-driven pheasants. In Argentina, days will unfold firing thousands of shot shells at millions of doves. Or in the southern reaches of the United States, in places like West Texas or Georgia plantation country, the game is tight-holding bobwhite quail. But in South Africa, halfway around the globe, a plan made at breakfast can change when the sun rises, and twice more before lunch. That's because in this far-off land, there are so many species of game birds inhabiting the same covers that any wing shooter is sure to see something he or she has never seen before. Chris Batha is making his first hunt in South Africa, a place he's long considered a wing shooting wonder of the world.
You know, Africa to myself, you know, and friends that have come here several times always talk about the number of species. And we're going to shoot several locations and shoot multiple species. There's different kinds of Froncolin, Swansons. You know, you've got several doves, several pigeons, many geese, many ducks. And then you get into the birds over, you know, Froncolin, sandgrouse, guinea fowl, several kinds of guinea fowl. You know, there's nowhere else in the world with that variety of different wing shooting. And wing shooting the world, you've got to come to Africa.
After the journey to Johannesburg, Chris and his group of hunters fly to the city of Durban on South Africa's Gold Coast. Mark Haldane of Bird Hunters Africa is the host for the trip. Bird Hunters Africa has more than 2 decades of experience in outfitting outstanding wing shooting adventures. From Durban, it's a short 2-hour drive through the countryside until the beauty and expanse of Bainsfield Estates greets the eyes of our weary travelers.
A lot of hills, much higher rainfall, lower elevation. We're quite close to the coast here. We're an hour's drive from the nearest beach. A varied elevation. We're from 2,000 feet on the lowest point right up to 5,000 feet on the hills. Makes for a good variety of game birds. A lot of geese, Froncolin, doves and rock pigeons. And a totally new experience. It's almost like we're in a new country.
After lunch and a chance to settle into camp, the long-awaited South African wing shooting adventure begins.
This is truly magnificent countryside. The large lake or dam, as they call them in South Africa, surrounded by these rolling hills, huge sugarcane crops, and these harvested wheat fields, home to the Froncolin. It's tough going, but it's challenging, and I have to say, very exciting. We have a point. Yeah!
They're a bird that doesn't hold terribly well for a pointer, so we need to get up to the pointers quite quickly. They occur in coveys of anything from 2 to half a dozen, 8 birds perhaps, and they're a beautiful bird, fly well, and they're quite a challenge to hunt.
Good on. Good on.
That would have been a stretch.
Well, I've been knee deep in mud, head out in sugarcane, and shoulder right in briar. And I haven't shot a Froncolin yet.
Now you want to tell me this is not hunting, eh?
This is real hunting.
South Africa is well known as a premier hunting destination, but much of that reputation comes from the country's plentiful big game. This is fertile country for all types of game, including the feathered variety. Though a bit lesser known, South Africa offers some of the finest and most diverse wing shooting opportunities in the world. With a truly amazing number of game bird species, there's no shortage of activity for the traveling wing shooter.
Hey there, all the way in.
Chris Batha is on his first visit to South Africa. He's hunting with Bird Hunters Africa on the historic Bainsfield estate, sharing the day's field with guide Mark Haldine and good friends Jack and Sue Bishop. Chris and company are on a walked-up quest, very similar to what you might do in, say, South Dakota. But they're not chasing ringneck roosters. These hunters are after one of the region's most prized birds, Froncolin.
Good shot.
From all accounts, they can either run and you get fairly long, spectacular shots, or they can actually literally tread on them and they'll tower up in the air. So I'm looking forward to some, I've never done this before, so I'm looking forward to some pretty exciting shooting. And once again, it's another species I haven't shot. And for me, you know, that's the challenge of Africa, is just the variety of birds, the number of species, and the great opportunity to take part in some shooting I've never done before. This is Wingshooting the World.
This is a Natal Froncolin. It's got red legs. This is a hen, a young hen. You're working over dogs, great scenery, and they're a challenge. You need to walk, put in your time. You're not just sitting there waiting for the birds to come to you. You've actually got to physically hunt them.
He's down.
Nice shot. Very nice.
Because these are both a Natal Froncolin.
Is it the male and the female?
This is the cockbird. You can see he's got a very healthy spur.
Yeah.
Here's all the feathers, that's from the dog. And the female doesn't have a spur, as you can see. And as you guys can see, they take a lot of hunting, not just shooting.
They're almost like a grouse. They got like a big chest muscle,
Yes.
and then they got little rounded wings. So the speed's deceiving. Both Jack and I, you know, they as Jack said, they leave the ground and then they're at full speed within about 10 yards. You know,
Absolutely right.
they're a tough bird to hunt, a tough bird to kill.
And they're very sought after by the fly fishermen.
Oh right, yeah, for the cake, yeah.
Great fit.
Yeah, I can see that. Well shot, Jack.
Jeff, what would we do with us doing shoot today, huh?
Exactly right.
We've got Chris in training, so we think he's going to come on shortly.
We got the training wheels on.
Yes, sir.
But they'll normally hold in the corner. There it is there, guys. You see it in the road? Then he runs into the corner.
Way up there. Honey, go up to the edge if you can. He goes out the back. Get a shot.
Yes. Head out in sugarcane, knee deep in mud, and fight my way through all that briar. And that's what I came to Africa for, real hunting. Is it mine? No, this one. My first Francolin, and I can't tell you how thrilled I am. What a beautiful bird, what a challenging target. Rail hunted. I mean, there's no pen-raised birds here. This is wild birds, real wild.
Well, Chris, congratulations.
Hey, thank you,
I thought
Mark.
you were going to make me walk all afternoon here for a minute.
Well, you can take my white stick and Labrador away now. I've
Found your birds, eh?
It's a good job I got the bishops with me, otherwise we'd be going hungry.
Pretty bird, eh? Look how old this chap is. Look at the size of his
spurs, yeah. They're a fast bird. For a big bird, they're powerful. They fly hard. That's great.
Well done.
I think it was an assist.
Teamwork.
Wow. I tell you, you work hard for them. And again, there's a cripple. Oh, shot, Jack. That was tough. Oh.
Nice shot. Well shot.
Shot Sue.
Nice, you bull. I'm not sure which one. That was a long shot.
Deadlier than the male.
That was a long shot.
That was a fantastic. That bird was 50 yards away.
It felt wonderful. I've never shot such a long shot at a bird. They're so fast. It was great. All that work walking through the fields, I never realized how hard it is to hunt these Francolin. They're just, wow, fast.
What a great shot, Sue.
Thank you, Chris.
That was 50 yards away. I thought he was long gone. What a fantastic shot. I can't describe to you what a great feeling in this beautiful terrain to be walking with your friends and, you know, to see a long-lasting relationship cemented in the field there. You know, that's what hunting's about, camaraderie, friendships and, you know, lasting memories.
At first glance, the grounds of Bainesfield Estate looks like many places you'd hunt in the United States. Lush green fields, rolling hills, and a nearby restful lake. Perfect locations for any wing shooter looking to ply his avocation. It may look the same, but you're a long, long way from the USA.
I had the opportunity to speak to one of the Bushmen who's from a tribe of one of the oldest speaking languages, African languages. Amazing clicks and high tones and different ways, and it's just let you know you're still in Africa. You're, you know, it's an exotic country with an exotic people.
I'm the owner-operator of Mbangweni Lodge, which is situated on Bainesfield Estate. Bainesfield Estate is a 22,000-acre farm located in the Natal Midlands area of KwaZulu-Natal.
The estate was founded by Joseph Baines in 1863, and it was home to South Africa's first dairy and butter factory. It's a trip back in time to what this part of Africa was like 150 years ago.
Behind me is the highest point on Bainesfield Estate, on the 22,000-acre estate. Standing on that point on a clear day, particularly after a winter rain, you can see the coast, which is about 35 miles as the crow flies. If you turn around and look behind you, you can also see the snow on the Drakensberg mountain range. It is the highest point between Durban and Pietermaritzburg. The Bainesfield area is an intensive agricultural area. So the hunting you're going to be doing here it's not your typical game fenced farm. There are no fences in the area, except for the odd barbed wire fence that would keep your beef cattle in. So because of the amount of corn that's planted in the area, we have incredible bird life.
With its incredible biodiversity, you really never know what you might discover on the grounds.
The spotted eagle owl, they fell out of their nest, I suppose, about 6 weeks to 2 months ago. And we kept putting them back into the tree. But they kept coming out, and eventually the 3 chicks had fallen out of the nest. And then we spoke to a bird authority, and he said, rather just leave them out, don't fiddle with them too much, or the mother will just reject them. And now they've gradually grown up. We found the 3rd one dead in the garden, and now we've got these 2 chicks. little bit afraid that cats are going to come and take them, but I have to let nature take its course and just leave them, hopefully, to survive.
It's 5:15 and we're alongside a dam, as they call them, or a lake, and here in Bainsfield, and we're going to shoot some geese, spare wings and Egyptian.
For wing shooter Chris Batha, Bainsfield means an unbelievable shooting opportunity. After a day chasing, climbing, and clawing to get a few Francolin, Chris is up early the next morning, settled into a pit blind, waiting for his shot at a larger-than-life Egyptian goose.
Okay guys, keep your heads down.
No, he wouldn't fall fast enough. I think he's dead. I think he definitely Of course, one of the pleasures of shooting is to shoot with a friend, a camaraderie, and I was there with Neil Paget, and a doctor friend who's come out to Africa with us, and it was just great fun for us to come up and take 2 out of 5, or knock them down, and it's great to see somebody else making a good shot, and it's just a special morning.
Keep it down. Keep it down. Okay, they're coming around. Okay guys, they're coming in the front now. Take them, guys. Nice shot, guys. Well done.
The great thing about hunting here is the light. It's hard to describe, but this morning when we got there was early morning twilight.
Okay, straight from the front, guys. Straight from the front.
And then as it got lighter, there was a beautiful pink sky, the clouds, and the different colouring of those clouds. And then of course you got that wonderful rising sun that came up like a great red orb, and the birds were just like backlit. It was almost like you could see every colour in those Egyptians, especially the whites on them and the colours. They gliding in, they were sparkling as they come in. It's just they're just spectacular shooting, and memories to take home.
The stereotypical view of Africa exists for a reason. Breathtaking scenery and wildlife abound. But to a wing shooter, this is what sets the heart to racing.
Nice shot! Well shot!
Chris Batha is in the Midlands region of South Africa, hunting with Bird Hunters Africa. Already, he's had the opportunity to take in an afternoon of walked-up Francolin hunting, as well as a morning spent in the blind waiting on huge Egyptian geese. This afternoon, he's found himself a bucket and a great blind, which would appear to be a great setup for pigeon. And that's correct, except these are like no pigeon you've ever seen before.
After a really exciting morning on the Egyptian geese, we've had a light lunch, and now we're on one of the harvested wheat fields at Bainsfield with a really rare opportunity to shoot the ramron pigeon. This is a pigeon that normally eats on fruit, but because it's winter, they're actually feeding on these harvested wheat fields. This is a large pigeon, the biggest pigeon in Africa, has very distinctive yellow eyes, beak and feet, wonderful markings, a very beautiful bird, and incredibly good eating because of their diet of fruit. And one of the reasons we come to Africa for such diverse species and opportunities to shoot them. A clean kill, graveyard dead as I say, and how appropriate that I'm next door to the memorial put up by Joseph Baines to his head man, and wonderful place to shoot from. The views here across this valley are absolutely incredible, and the trees behind me are the city trees where the pigeons are coming to, and I'm taking some very high challenging shots as they flight into the trees. I've got to say, this is just one shoot after the other, turning into the most fantastic shooting experience. Well worth the travel from America all the way to Africa. Beautiful country, fantastic shooting. You'll notice that I'm sitting down using a bucket again with a swivel seat. I call them a dove bucket. The reason for that is sometimes the outfitters will give you a chair. If you're in the chair, you're backward and back in the chair. You can't get out of it easily, and you can't swing or rotate. Whereas the bucket keeps my profile low, i.e. shooting from a blind, but I can rotate on the bucket and it gives me great ability to move my feet and still stay shoot from a sitting position. And so if you have the opportunity or the choices, don't go for the fold-up chair, bring a bucket. Mayday, all the way in. These birds are tough. They're taking a lot of shooting. I mean, I'm hitting them hard. I've got a good amount of choke in the gun, improved modified and modified. I'm using an ounce load with a hot cartridge, and I'm really clattering. You can hear this shot slap the bird. The bird rocks, but he'll fly on 200-300 yards. It's amazing how tough a bird they are. Good job I got a good Labrador Retriever with me. Now that is dead, and that is a hell of a shot, if I do say so myself. That must have been 50 yards if it was an inch. Another perfect end to a perfect day in Africa. Another setting sun, which is just as dramatic and as exciting as it was rising this morning in the geese fields.